Hi, Betty.
Hi, Celia.
So, about this MLK, the Embrace statue in Boston Commons.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, I am naive. All I know is that to me it is confusing and ugly, and all I can say is the same thing that other people on social media say, that it looks like someone did not clean up after their giant dog, or it is a huge and twisted up piece of the male anatomy. That this is all I know. And I want to hear from someone who can actually tell me in artistic type words what's wrong with this thing, because now you are an artist and you have been to art school, and that's why I want to get your perspective on this.
I can give you my best perspective. Sculpture has never been a real, I haven't ever made a deep dive into sculpture, but I can definitely give you my opinion and my, my studied opinion, let's call it that.
Okay, well, I mean, the reason I know you have some opinions about sculpture is that I know you and I were once in California Adventure inside Disneyland, and we walked by this bronze statue of Walt Disney, which I had never particularly found any fault with, and you just started going, whoever did that thing knows nothing about anatomy, and they all this and that. And yeah, and I thought, well,
I think whoever did that statue had some connections or something. I have no idea, because I am going to make a guess that that statue gets enough complaints that maybe they've redone it, or maybe they will be, or maybe they have plans to. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. All I know is I can guarantee you that statue gets a lot of complaints. It doesn't look anything like Walt Disney.
Okay. See, it's not, to me, it wasn't as egregious as that Scary Lucy. That
Scary Lucy was awful.
Scary Lucy was so bad, any idiot could tell that Scary Lucy was bad. But it takes, I mean, like, not any idiot could tell that Walt Disney statue was bad. Not only because it didn't look like it, but you were saying there were other things that were wrong with it.
Yeah, there are some anatomical problems with that. And like you say, it's still like inside the ballpark, I would say. Scary Lucy was totally outside. Scary Lucy wasn't even on this planet. But But the thing is, though, there are enough, people who go to Disneyland and people who spend money there, they are Disney fans, and so they do know more than the average, the average Joe on the street about Walt Disney, especially Walt Disney. So that's why I say I would bet that there are lots of complaints about that statue. But whatever. But that Scary Lucy statue, the fact that Scary Lucy statue got taken down and replaced, gives me a little bit of hope. Give me a little bit of hope, just a glimmer of hope for this MLK statue, which I don't really think is ever going to be replaced. But
okay, well, tell me.
There's a glimmer.
All right, give me the artist lowdown on this thing.
Well, the artist lowdown. First of all, the lowdown is okay. Now, you started out saying that it looks like dog poop, or the male anatomy. Which is absolutely true. So now, this is the reaction. That is a piece of public art, and the public is in unison reacting that same way, and justifiably so. So this is the problem with public art, is that the public sees it, and most public art is really just something that reflects the sculptor's personal crusade of some sort. They don't really have in mind what's in the best interest of the public or the subject matter. They just have their own personal viewpoint on it that they want to foist on everybody else. And nobody knows how you get from this photo, a beautiful little photo of MLK and his wife hugging each other, to this giant sculpture where they have been dismembered, decapitated, their innards, gouged out. I don't know how that happens, and I don't know what the point of it is, and neither does anybody else. Now, that sculptor who he's digging in. He's digging in, and he's defending it. I guess that's predictable, but people are pissed off about it. And the thing is, public art is almost, in my opinion, public art is 99% bad, maybe even more than that. Because exactly of that one thing, because it always reflects the sculptor's personal. They want to drag everybody through their own hell, or they want to drag everybody through some abstruse philosophical concept that they had a dream about last year or something. It doesn't connect with people. It doesn't connect with the public. But public art, for some reason, is so bad. But this time with MLK, it gets all this attention because there's so much cognitive dissonance here. It's the MLK legacy cannot tolerate that kind of nonsense. It just can't. It's bad public art. It is bad art, and it's bad public art.
Okay.
And the fact that it is MLK, who is he's practically a demigod at this point.
Yeah.
You can't do that to a demigod. You cannot do that. You cannot just foist your own personal whatever onto this legacy and expect it to be supported. You just can't do that. It doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. It makes you wonder what went on in these committee meetings when it was approved.
God, yes. So let me ask you a few questions right now. Okay, you're talking about there's this big problem with public art. Would this thing be okay if it was chained to a museum wall or in someone's private gallery? I mean, it would be less objectionable there. I mean,
yes.
The problem with public art is the publicness of it. It's the venue. It just doesn't belong in public. It belongs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Stick it in Bill Gates' little garden.
Okay. That and the other. Oh yeah. So would something more appropriate simply be a strictly representational sculpture of MLK that somehow transcended, plain old pedestrian reality, that somehow conveyed his wisdom and his sacrifice and his greatness? I mean, is that what you want in public art?
That would be the ideal. The thing is, public art, good public art, in my experience, good public art is representational. Because people, we are people. Humans always want to make something out of a shape. So clouds turn into an elephant tap dancing or something. And we always we want to make something out of this shape. And so that's why we're making dog poop out of this thing, because that's what it looks like. I mean, that's where it's just a thing.
It's kind of funny. It's flipped around here. I mean, normally you would be making something out of dog do, but here we are taking an actual finished sculpture and making it into interestingly enough.
But yeah, good public art is almost always representational. So you got the Merrill Lynch Bowl, you got Christ the Redeemer down there in was it Rio? My favorite of the war memorials in Washington, D.C. is the Korean War Memorial. But all of those, like almost all of them, I would say all of them, are beautiful. And they are, without exception, they are representational. And there is...
It's interesting.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it's interesting you say that Korean War Memorial is beautiful because, really, it conveys misery and effort and. Yeah, it does. But there's beauty in it. Okay.
Yeah. It's greater than the sum of its parts.
Okay. All right. So I interrupted you. You were.
No, I was just going to say. I forget what I was going to say. Yeah. It's almost always representational. Now there are. There is a lot of abstract art, public art, that is respected. I'm not crazy about Alexander Calder, but a lot of people love him. Henry Moore is another sculptor who was revived, or I don't know. There was a lot of objections to his sculpture at first, but they're beautiful. They are absolutely, in my opinion, they're beautiful, and he does have they're very widely respected right now. So they don't have to be terribly representational, but I think in general, the general rule is that good public art is representational. And if you want it to be dog poop, then, like you say, put it in your own garden. And now the one redeeming factor about this MLK statue is that it was paid for by private donations. It wasn't public taxes. Yeah, so it's only these idiots who contributed to it who are out the money. But unfortunately, the public is forced to see it. If you're just walking by in that area, you have to see it.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so we've talked about the problem is that it's public. What else is a problem with this, other than the things that did you have any other critiques about the art? I mean, even if it was in a museum and you walked up to it, would you have what would be your criticisms of this thing?
Oh, just exactly the same criticisms that we're talking about. Well, I guess artistically, I don't know about the form or the shapes. I think I would probably like it more if it was abstracted much further, because then I would be able to make whatever shape I want out of it. I think it's in this strange nether world where it's not representational and it's not abstract. It's something else, and it doesn't know what it wants to be when it grows up. And I just don't, it would have to go one way or the other for me to like it. They would have to get their heads back at least if it's going to go representational.
Right.
And if it was going to go more abstract, then maybe it could go. I don't know. More abstract, I think, would probably be the way for that to go. And already it isn't recognizably MLK. Nobody would know. Nobody would know what that is.
Yeah. No one would look at that and think, oh, MLK and Coretta hugging after he got his Nobel Prize. Of course.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's very interesting, Betty, and I just wanted to get an actual art critic's, verbiage on this thing, and you really educated me on this, and it just sounds like plain old naive, naive revulsion to these things.
It's not naive, it's visceral. It's visceral, and when people defend that kind of sculpture, they always have to use word salads, and it's always intended to just muzzle you, who you're just a normal everyday person who wants to know how this kind of crap ever got off the drawing board.